Hello again and welcome to DanWhiteBooks, the book review channel where we add insights into the worlds of literature for both those who do read and those who don't. Whoa, that is all that comes to mind when I think of the book that I'm reviewing today, and that is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Now, you may have wondered why I gave the old whoa there in the introduction. Well, stick with me. I'm going to analyse the themes in this book and share my thoughts, along with adding a bit of a personal touch, for this book is not just relevant and endearing in terms of being a piece of fiction, it's also one that had a strong personal connection with me, and I'm going to share that with you in this review. Now, firstly, have you heard of this work? If you're new to literature, you may recognise the name. The Great Gatsby was written by author F. Scott Fitzgerald and was published back in 1925. F. Scott Fitzgerald has published 5 major pieces of fiction in his time, although nothing comes anywhere near The Great Gatsby. I dare say this is the case with most authors' work, for this book, like The Catcher in the Rye and To Kill a Mockingbird, to name but a few, it's really transcended time and sits on a shelf few books ever get to see. But is it any good? The Great Gatsby takes place during the Roaring Twenties, or as Fitzgerald himself said, the Jazz Age, a time of modernism in literature and art, and a particularly foreboding period in history. World War I has passed, but as we know, there are darker days ahead. Set in America, around Manhattan, New York and Long Island, the story is told through central character Nick Carraway, a wannabe Bond salesman who travels to New York in the hope to find employment. He finds a property on Long Island right next door to a towering house owned by the man called Jay Gatsby. You may have seen the film of this work, and so when I name Jay Gatsby, you might picture Leonardo DiCaprio in a plush suit. I've personally never seen the film, and after reading this book, I likely never will, because I really enjoyed this work, and I do feel sometimes, particularly when I enjoy the book to the level I did with this one, a movie can tarnish the imagery you have in your head. Parties roar at Gatsby's every week, yet few know who the actual man is. He is elusive, but in time he does introduce himself to the main character, his neighbour Nick Carraway, and so you learn really why Gatsby is serving the wants of others through mass extravagance. He is trying to be someone. He wants to be noticed, but not by the mass amounts of people who use his house as a personal nightclub. It's simple, really. He wants to impress the girl he loves, and so he keeps close to all in the hope that she will show. I've been locked in that situation before. Perhaps you have. Love is a very strong word, isn't it? I didn't host luxurious parties, but I did put myself in situations in the hope I would find that one person I had lost. When you lose someone and when you don't accept it, or when you hold on to the slim chance you may see them again, you do the utmost to bump into them. Jay Gatsby is a mystery. At the start of this book, you don't know whether to hate him or love him. He adds the classic old sport to the end of every sentence he utters. His seemingly oblivious stance could be interpreted as a lack of care. However, at the bare bones of it, he is a man who is in love, and so desperately wants to reintroduce himself to the person he has lost. The people around him are simply a means for his own personal goal. I don't really want to spoil this book because I enjoyed it a lot. There are many themes to discuss in this work, but I'd like to lean more towards the personal aspect with me particularly, and what it meant to me and its relevance, and I suppose a little bit of psychology and identity. So I am going to reveal a big spoiler here, so big spoiler alert. You have been warned. Gatsby dies at the end of this work, and one must ask if the journey was really worth it, because in a tragically heartbreaking turn of events, despite Gatsby having had every person dancing into the early hours in his exuberant mansion, only 2 people come to his funeral. He dies alone despite having been so much alive in the world, and he dies in the pursuit of wealth, of riches, all for the means to impress the one he loves and the one he had lost. And there is conflict there, because despite Gatsby's motives being true, his means are not. He pursues love by leaning towards deception. And author Fitzgerald poses here that not all pursuits of love are good, and indeed that love may bring a person to many places, if only by the means they can find once more that which they hold dear. This book hit me in many ways, and I can relate to it a lot. I'm not obscenely wealthy, but I have pursued people in a reckless, personal fashion in the hope they will notice me again. That can be by going out numerous times a week or by putting myself in situations I personally dislike. You do it all for some greater cause. The end of this book brought it all home, and it speaks of something I too realised. When you let one goal or one desire hold prevalence above all else, it takes on its own identity. It swallows every other desire until you're truly blind to all else. It's hard to see it at the time, but opportunity is lost. Life can pass you by as you do everything, not for yourself, but for the possibility of being with another. And you can lose yourself. You can feel like you're stuck on the moon while the party rages below. I took from this book the recklessness of letting one desire trump all else. Gatsby made few friends, and in his pursuit of what he most wanted, he made the wrong choices, if for perhaps the right cause. And even saying that, it does sound wrong, because can any cause that leads a man to be completely alone really be deemed right? So with all things considered, I would rate this book a 96 out of 100. I loved it. It resonated with me. Perhaps it will with yourself, but nonetheless, for a book written nearly 100 years ago, this was exceptional. My friends, thank you for watching another book review. Give you a bit of an Easter egg. I did already film this book review in its entirety, and the camera was out of focus, so this is the second go. I am reading next Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, which is a book that was shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction 2021. That's going to be quite exciting. It's a fantasy book. Already a few pages in, and it's really beautifully written. So if you'd like to join me in reading this one, pick this book up, come back here on the next review, and we can discuss it together. Hopefully when I review that, I will make sure my camera is in focus the first time. I hope you're having great times. I don't know where I'm going with that. I will see you here again soon, where we can review this one together and have a little discussion and see how good it is. Hopefully it is good. My friends, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.